Well, we should have been turning away from this game that the Chiefs and Chargers played because, boys, it was ugly. We pull out a 17-10 victory after falling down 10-0. Patrick Mahomes is adding another win to the stat column when he is down by 10 points. That is such an uncommon feat. I believe he's now in the 70 percentile range of when he's down by 10 points or more, he comes back with a win. That's insane. Nobody else is done it at this rate. Nobody else has a winning record or above a 500 record. And Patrick Mahomes, if I remember correctly, it's close, if not at around 70%
The next
win
guy is Tom
percentage.
Brady, and he's
He's like
still
46%.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's insane, but there are a lot of things that went wrong in this game. We will definitely get to them. I want to start off on a high note. We're going to go high note, very low note, and then back to a high note with some plays and players of the game. But for some things that went right, I mean, not a whole lot, but that defense, I want to start off by saying this. The Kansas City Chiefs defense is the worst defense on the first drive. We have allowed 24 points on the first drive combined in the first 4 games of this season. 24 points. That is the worst. That's the most points allowed on first drives, bar none for any other team.
That
After
just
that,
proves to you that that's a useless stat, and if the only time our opponents are scoring is within the first 5 minutes of the game, I'm fine with it.
which is totally you're 100% right because on the remaining drives, outside of the first drive that our opponents have, the
True
Kansas City Chiefs have only allowed 54 points the remainder of the game combined through 4 games.
Well, to kind of touch on what Tybo said, yeah, it's definitely not how you start the game; it's how you fucking finish it. And
Or just play the rest of the game.
yeah, no, like again, it's definitely not about how you start the game at
It's not
all.
first to score.
No one,
That's for
no.
sure.
At the end of a close game, no one goes, in the first drive, we really had a good chance to score, and that guy missed a field goal, or like that guy dropped the ball. It's like no one remembers that. There's 1,000 other things that happened before the game, or before the end of the game. But yeah, no, I think all good defenses start slow though, and they progressively get better as the game goes. I will admit that though.
I don't. I think there's a lot of great defenses that will come out and pop you in the mouth. But regardless, our if like I said, if our defense is only giving up points on the first drive, whoop de fucking do. The Chiefs defense looked great. I called it. The Chargers offense did not have 250 yards total. Herbert was noticeably slow on his little leg or ankle problem.
We knew that
And
though.
okay, but that's exactly why that was my whole reasoning for
Dude,
them. They're
you
not
only
going to
beat
get
them
up
by fucking
250 yards
7. You
offense.
scored
Like
17 points. They
They
scored
only
10.
had 244 yards offense.
34, I thought.
What the Chiefs have?
Mhm.
Like 3 something? Like 100 more
It don't
yards?
matter.
Probably
We won the
less.
game.
Probably less, but we did win the game.
If you had
It
more,
was
dude, but like did we expect them to have a lot? No. And I didn't
you
necessarily
did.
I didn't
That's what you were
disagree with
You
you.
saying.
I
did
said if
you
I said
did
if
say they
Herbert
would
was
have
out
like
there,
300
they have
plus.
more than you would think. I didn't say they'd hit 1,000 fucking yards.
The
Jesus
Chiefs did have
Christ.
329 yards of offense.
They literally had
But
a
our
hundred more yards. They had a
our
hundred more
pass
yards.
rushers were getting home and embarrassing their backups
Again, we
out there.
fucking said they would.
And we're going over what went right, you fucking asshole.
Ugh,
Jesus.
God bless America. Like
What? Allow
you're
me to
just
talk about
oh
my
my God.
team.
Mm.
We
It's
tried
such
to
a
we
big
tried to start
Chiefs
on a high
hater.
note. Am I right?
Well, yeah, you're,
No,
you're
we
saying
did.
you're saying like everybody in the universe thought that it wasn't gonna happen.
Look,
I'm
you're
we
but it did happen.
Tommy,
Chris Jones had
we were literally having a disagreement over that topic, and I brought it up this show. Like
yeah,
I don't.
but
we
I
got to
didn't I didn't
recap
say
what
I didn't
happened,
say
dude.
he'd go for 500
And I
fucking
was right.
yards. I said you had to respect Justin Herbert,
And we did
which
not.
means it
We did
probably
not.
gets
We were
spread
putting him
We
in the
out.
did not
dirt.
respect just he was over on
Yeah.
the sideline slamming his helmet. That makes 4 quarterbacks for
No, he was
4 weeks
frustrated. Yeah.
have slammed their helmets either on a bench or on the ground in some way, shape, or form when coming off the field against this Chiefs defense. Kind of like Tommy's trying to bang his head against the wall tonight.
They're good. They're fine. I Jesus. But
Does everyone
continue
Tommy?
glazing the
Is it?
4-0 two-time defending
Oh,
Super
you
Bowl
should
champs.
as you should. As you should. Chris Jones, 26 rushes, 2 sacks, 3 pressures under 3 seconds from the snap of the ball. FAU had another 17 rushes, 3 pressures. Turk Wharton had 20 rushes on 2 pressures. Surprisingly, here, George Karlaftis, 24 rushes, only 2 pressures from him in the game versus the Chargers.
That won't stay that way, but Chris Jones was the X factor, and we fucking knew that.
Top five defensive
Thank you,
player in the
Tommy.
league.
Took it right out of your mouth. But it's opposite side of the ball. Something that I saw that went right that we should see more of in the coming future. Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt
Ooh,
running that ball, baby.
ooh.
Let go. Give him the rock. Give him
Carson
the
Steele.
rock.
I feel bad for Carson Steele too because he did this almost like. Granted, it's
I
week
don't.
4, but he
He's still
comes
gonna
out.
do at some
He
point.
fumbles the ball very much like Kareem Hunt did on the very first play of his Chiefs career.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Um, and then he gets benched, and Kareem Hunt. It's the Kareem Hunt show from then on out. What was very funny. I think this was very funny, Tybo. Very potentially vindictive from. I wonder if Clark Hunt made a call down to the sideline. Uh, Kareem was inside the 10, had the opportunity to punch that bad boy in, and
They traded
somebody
P. Ryan.
somebody made that phone call and said, "Yeah, not in his first game back, ain't happening." Kareem Hunt, no sir, and they gave it to Samaj P. Ryan down on the goal line.
I'm starting Kareem Hunt in fantasy from here on out.
You
I'm
should.
lucky I snatched him up in the dynasty league, where I had Pacheco go down. So
I would say one thing that did you right, you got Travis Kelsey going. Mainly out of necessity, but like you did get Travis Kelsey going. He finally got the best game of the season for him so far. So
Still not a very good game, but
no, and
we
Travis
did
Kelsey,
we did get him
I
going.
think
yeah.
I think it. I mean, I honestly think it was a good game. Like he doubled his stats for the season, more than doubled his stats for the season, and he made a huge impact on the game.
Yeah, traditional Travis Kelsey game, 7 receptions, 89 yards. Like that's pretty normal for Travis Kelsey. He,
That's
he missed out on potentially having a touchdown in that stat line makes that
Hmm.
vintage Travis Kelsey for sure. But definitely you are right. I did not realize that he had 89 yards. That's a much better stat line than I had originally thought.
yeah. No, I'm down with
Yeah,
it.
no, he was good. Like you said, missing a touchdown for like a vintage. I mean, Travis Kelsey just tight end. If you can get that out of your tight end, whew, you're in a good spot. Doesn't matter who it is.
Well, that's also with traditionally saying, maybe you've got some other pass catchers out there. I guess we'll get to some of the bad that went along here. Rashee Rice out indefinitely. Uh, on a positive note, I will say that Patrick Mahomes is the goat. Like, he's out there doing stuff that no other quarterback has done before. He's out there tearing his own guys' ACLs
Oh
potentially.
yeah, dude.
No other quarterback has done that.
Man, man. Is someone not there to be like, hey, we know you're like a super competitive person, but when it comes to like possibly stopping the defense who is carrying the ball towards our end zone, like maybe just have someone else do that. Have someone else go make that tackle instead of you.
I'm all right if Pat Mahomes decides not to go in on a tackle on a
Yeah.
pick or a fumble. Like I'm all right. Well, like make a business decision. That's okay. Not
For the
I,
sake of the team.
not even for like what happened with Rashid, just in general. If you ever
Yeah.
throw another pick, Pat, just walk to the sideline.
Yeah.
Just go to the sideline. We're okay.
Uh-huh.
If you give up 6, it's fine. Don't need you hurt. Don't
You
need
can you
anybody
can make
else.
up six. You can make up six pretty quickly with him,
I
as
think
long as he can still throw the ball.
every other quarterback in the league is essentially doing what you guys are saying, and they aren't Patrick Mahomes, right? Like we quarterbacks aren't supposed to be in on those types of plays. They're literally like a last man contained type of situation, or at least supposed to be. It's the way you're taught.
Well,
But
so I
He
don't
ran
know.
in
I
there like a
think
middle linebacker.
Yeah, I think if you're like Will Levis, like yeah, you have to, or else everyone's gonna think you're a big old pussy. But like you're Patrick Mahomes, dude. Like you've kind of earned the right to probably not have to do something like that.
Either way, I'm glad Pat fixed up a couple of things in this game, like made some adjustments, whatever. But he altogether still needs to refocus sometime this
Oh, that
evening because
interception he threw is
I don't
so
see it.
bad.
I don't see it happening right now.
I don't.
That be the whole hurting Rasheed Rice being an example. Like he is like there's something a little bit mixed up right now. It's too many commercials. It's too much money. It's something because Pat,
Too much money.
I haven't we haven't seen these type of, I'm not gonna call them antics, but like this type of shit out of Pat his whole career, and I don't know what else to attribute it to, man. I really don't.
I'm still good. There's things that I'm noticing out on the field, right? So take some of what I said last week about the Matt Nagy situation. Let's put that in a box for a minute. When we look out there on the field, I got on next gen stats because I wanted to see how the offensive line is performing. Because I look at it and I'm like, man, Pat really kind of does have quite a bit of time to throw. They're run blocking very well, opening up holes. Patrick
Talked about it
Mahomes
last week.
on
That's
average
the
has
yeah.
2.74 seconds to throw from the time the ball is snapped. Now that ties them at like I think it was like 20th, 18th, or 20th position, somewhere in there, right? Which is pretty low, but actually, the time to throw for all offensive lines is way up this year in comparison to the last couple of years. So 2.74 seconds, that's quite a bit of time, especially given what we've seen Patrick Mahomes have to do in the past. He's able to get the ball out really quickly.
I mean, like,
Um,
weren't you coached like 2.5 seconds? Like anything north
I
of
think
two
you're
and a half
coached at
seconds is
like
pretty
two.
good.
You're like
Yeah,
2.2.
honestly, yeah, 2.2. But still, but you're saying though, like anything over 2.5 is pretty damn good in
two
my
two
opinion.
two seven's fantastic. That's really
Yeah.
really good. I think it was at one point Tom Brady averaged in like his final season getting the ball out of his hands in like 2.24 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be done. You've got to have the receivers there to do it. It doesn't help when Rasheed Rice is out due to that injury. Um, but he's obviously got quite a bit of time to be able to throw the ball. What I'm noticing Pat do is roll out early, and this was something that we saw happen. It was a little bit last year, and but primarily it was the year that we lost the Super Bowl to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Pat was rolling out very early, and that was needed because the offensive line was garbage. Last year, offensive line not so great in terms of pass blocking. This year, they're doing really well, and Pat is rolling out early. And when he rolls out early, he has to turn his back to the side, and so you're missing the flat where the running back is going out to. We've actually seen him miss Travis Kelsey wide open, who's kind of stuck in there in limbo on if you're running out on like a escape or a bootleg, you're not going to be able to catch him because he's not flowing with the play. And so Pat is missing wide open Travis, missed him quite a few times in the game versus the Chargers, even. And even before then, missing some flat routes that are wide open with running backs. He's just scampering early. I don't know if this is 100% due to Pat. He's feeling uncomfortable back there for some reason, one way or another. But I'm going to add in that Matt Nagy issue on. I think we've got some play calling issue. I think we have some schematic issues that is forcing Pat to feel very uncomfortable in that backfield.
Well, I just rolling out early or just scrambling early. I don't know if quite puts the pin on what I feel like I'm seeing because
But that's not the end all be all. Just one
yeah,
thing that I'm noticing.
he's certainly like either assuming defenders aren't going to be in certain areas or just like clearly missing guys out there. Like I like there's some keys or reads that are not being hit at times that he's just letting the ball go into the wrong hands. He doesn't do that normally. Like his touchdown to interception ratio um was bested by nobody but Aaron Rodgers damn near. Like he usually takes care of the football and he just looks sloppy right now.
I think he is. I think the rolling out early is because I think he's got so much pressure on him. every time someone talks about Patrick Mahomes in, the national stage or even here, us idiots talking about him, what are we talking about? What's the first thing you always say with Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs? Three in a row. Three in a row. And I said this earlier. It's like right now, it's like they're in the middle of like the 54 game hitting streak from fucking Joe DiMaggio. Like everybody in the world right now is focused on that. He's got so much pressure. I think he's forcing himself to probably make. He's like, I have to make a play because what do we know that Patrick Mahomes is good at doing? He's good at rolling out and creating plays. That's all fucking Chris Collinsworth says. So I'm going to use it here. Uh, but yeah, I think he's just trying to force himself to make a play, and it's not really working out for him. Like where usually it does. So I do think, I don't. I think he's probably with how defenses are changing and how they have changed. I think he's already like, oh, that pass isn't going to be there. That's not here. Now I got to go. When like because defenses have changed. God, I can't talk tonight. How defenses have changed. I think that like what he assumes is not going to be open is probably could be open, and sometimes is. So I think that's kind of a big key when we're talking about just the slump that he is having. But yeah, no, I think he'll probably work out of it. Um, but you guys are winning,
It's weird to say, yeah, it's weird to say
so
slump and we're winning.
yeah.
That just might help describe Tommy's point more about how much pressure is on Patrick Mahomes. But I honestly think that these gentlemen are professionals and should have ways to cope and rise above the quote unquote pressure. But maybe I'm being too much of a perfectionist and expecting excellence out of just human
Well, it's
beings.
okay to expect excellence, but also too, you have to realize what they're trying to do. Also, they're trying to
I'm
do something that has never been done ever,
yeah,
ever.
that's true. I don't know. You said it a week or two ago, Tommy, and I'm kind of in the same boat as Tybo, and not because that I am expecting excellence out of them. I think we all are, but not for that reason, but because we've seen them operate under pressure before. It hasn't been a back to back in two
Yeah,
decades, and they did it. Uh, Chiefs hadn't been to an AFC championship game in 50 years. They hadn't been to a Super Bowl in 50 years. They hadn't done this in this amount of time. Like the pressure has always been there and mounted against Patrick and Co. And um, I don't I don't believe that it's the pressure. I believe that there are a lot of factors going on and there has to be maybe some off the field issues. There's got to be potential off the field issues. Like I I I don't think it really has to do with this pressure, but there's a lot of other factors that are going on here that's really affecting. And yeah, we're winning. That's great. Uh, not that that should ever be downplayed, but given the issues that we're now having, I think we've got a worse wide receiver room than we did last year, and this is going to be rough.
yeah,
I
but
think
there's
we're
no
going to.
pressure to win when you haven't won before. That's the thing, though. There's no pressure. There's no pressure to win when you've never won before. The pressure is now. I think there are expectations, yes, but at the end of the day, like no one has ever tried to win. Like there's only been a few teams in the history of the NFL that have had an opportunity to possibly win three straight, and I think that there's an unbelievable amount. I just don't think you guys are empathizing enough for the amount of pressure that is on these
I
athletes. Like
mean,
every single day, dude.
I
Every
maybe
single day.
maybe the Chiefs. Look, we got this.
Yeah,
I'm just
you
saying,
do. But
we
there's
got
just so much pressure. The expectation is so there, dude. It's
it's
the expectation that's what's pissing everybody off too.
I
That's what it is. That's what's getting you guys. You
sure.
expect greatness and it's not there. Like
I
greatness isn't there and you're still 4-0.
I'm
Like
not I'm not
wrap your
seeing
fucking
it.
head around that.
I'm not seeing it exactly as pressure, man. I really do think these guys can quote like rise above that quote unquote pressure. And
But when you rise above for so long, like at some point when you don't consistently rise above it and you've constantly risen above it, like that could see as like, hey, we're slipping, but like now the improbable that was probable with them just might be improbable to them now. Like that could be a thing.
probably probable. I just, I just think what we're seeing out of the boys doesn't look sustainable. Like doesn't look like championship caliber football right now.
Offensively, it
There's
does.
there's there's there's
Offensively,
reason there's reason for a little bit of worry. I think when things were even going good on Sunday, the Chiefs didn't look like they were in a rhythm on offense, and I think because that Pat was still having to dodge blitzers on boots and things like that. Like when things were going well, it still didn't feel like a rhythm, and I
Did you
think
feel
that
like you
might
were
have been.
hanging on that game for a while? That we
oof,
were just hanging on instead of
I think
like,
we're just dragging behind.
yeah. Do you guys think you're treading water at all? Do you feel like you're treading water as a Chiefs fan?
Whatever analogy you want to put with it, I would just like to see Pat maybe be able to throw more off off the drive instead of off his back foot, um, and feel comfortable in the offense. And I think hopefully, if it's just a problem with like the play calling and what Nagy's got going on, it's hopefully fixable, and Pat should be able to look comfortable down the line. That's what we are hoping for.